All right, it's CPAT here with another Exceed commentary. This is actually going to be an interesting one. This is a post-com, courtesy of Poiman64, and this is actually Poiman64's match. Poiman we casted last week, I believe, and I believe we casted him one other time. Maybe in the last tournament? Well, I don't really remember. Maybe I feel like I did. But anyway, yeah, we're going to be watching this match from the perspective of Poiman. Thank you to Poiman for submitting the video for post-commentary. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit weird because we don't really do too many post-commentaries from a first-person perspective, from the perspective of being able to actually see someone's hand, but we can. So it should be interesting for sure. We see Poiman on the Carmine against Jad on the Nu. Nu going first, obviously, with her UA. She gets plus 3 to 4 range by spending a force, so this will almost assuredly be a UA strike. So are we going cross? Are we going grasp? Are we going slow? Which is something that Nu sometimes does. And it's the grasp. Grasp will do 1 damage to the focus. Focus was a good call there, because focus cannot be moved, obviously. So Carmine can't go to range 6 or anything. I hope you didn't hear that. There's a notification from my phone that popped up on my computer. And I hope that doesn't go through. I feel like it doesn't. But I'm not 100% sure, really. I'm using this new app to record my voice. So hopefully it didn't work out. But yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. Carmine obviously can increase his range somewhat with the dissolves. And then when he really gets going, if he's allowed to really get going, then he can increase his range quite a bit. And Nu is like a really... I mean, she's a zoner, right? I mean... She's on front side, she spends a bunch of she spends resources to, as we see a tech come out here, from Jad to tech the dissolve. Luckily for Carmine, Carmine's drawn 2 dissolves in the early game, so second one will come out right away, I'm assuming. Yep, same spot. What are we threatening here? We're threatening thrust, spike, sweep from Poiman right now. We're going to see Jad strike into it. Will he spend the force? Yeah, he'll spend the force, so we have another plus 3-4 range on this attack. Again, fast or slow, although in theory we can contest the speed here at speed 6, but I don't think we're going to, just because Nu's range 1 options are probably going to be speed 6, if I had to guess, so I don't think responding with the thrust here is super advisable. Notably, Nu will also have another problem against Season 6 because we're going to be just chucking the sweep out. This sweep will be against the Sword Summoner. Okay, so Sword Summoner will go first. We'll hit for 5. Will not stun the sweep, and sweep will hit back for 8. So yeah, that's the problem. I think Nu... Just like when Carmine's able to trade with Nu in this matchup... First of all, I think just Carmine is just going to be able to do more damage on account of the dissolves obviously giving plus 2 power. And then on top of that, I mean, when Nu flips, at least Nu will be able to dodge Carmine setups in theory with the hit you may advance 3. But on front side, Nu is just kind of a little bit... Unless Nu's able to establish like range 6, which Nu clearly hasn't. I spent a bunch of resources and literally, like, look at this health lead. Like, Carmine has a health lead and has a dissolve in the gauge as well. I just feel like Nu's not properly equipped to deal with this matchup unless she gets a... Is Nu a she? Is Nu a she or a he? I actually don't know. We'll see it's a she, I guess. Unless she gets... Or it. Maybe it's a robot. Again, unless they get the proper start with the grasp, because like grasp or cross going back to range 6, but like even then obviously these season 6 characters, they have 2 copies, or they not 2 copies, they have 2 different kinds of cards, normal boosts that advance. They have both respect and they have air dash. On top of that, Carmine also I believe has reckless run in his kit as well. It's like I have no idea how Nu's supposed to win this matchup. Nu just does a little baby damage and Carmine trades like twice or 3 times. And I mean, what's Nu gonna do about it? And on top of that, early game Nu has to spend so much force just to even get those early hits in. We saw Jad go for the Sword Summoner and the Grasp, and he's only done 6 damage, spending 4 force for those 2 combats. And look, Carmine's got a nice full hand going. Now has the EX Thrust as well. On top of that, Carmine his zoning, like his additional range works at any range on front side, right? Whereas on new front side, she really struggles at range 3, kind of struggles at range 2 as well. We're see the air dash come out, which is a little bit unfortunate because Super Rage is probably her best special, but it's a Carmine with a blood pool in front. That's not really going to do a whole lot, right? So I don't blame Jad for going for this, although I feel like Carmine can, we have Respect in our hand. We have 2 copies of Respect in our hand even. And yeah, here comes the Respect, moving to range 2. Range 2 also totally fine against Nu, especially when Nu's cornered, so where that cross isn't free. Notably, we can also, now that Poiman has Spin in hand, Poiman can now take that blood pool from the discard, put it in front of him, take a step back as well. And if Nu strikes into this, or if Nu doesn't strike into this, Carmine will get 2 free cards on top of that. Like, it's actually wild how poorly Nu fares into a lot of these Season 6 characters, Carmine included. I actually played, who would I play? I played Aurier Nu into Mango, and that matchup legitimately felt like 8-2. It was so bad. So we see Carmine initiate a strike here. I didn't actually see what this was. Is Carmine initiating a spike here? Okay. I mean, works out well. The Guard of Spike able to... Oh, it doesn't work out well because that's a hit, push, or pull 1 on that speed boost. Huh. Spike there... I guess Spike there does beat some options. It's weird though. It loses to Spike, it loses to Assault. Nu's not playing Dive. It loses to Super Rage. It loses to... I guess it doesn't lose to... No, it loses to Sickle Storm as well. Yeah, I don't know what that Spike's beating. Unless Nu's planning on playing Focus for some reason. I mean, he loses a Sweep. As we see Nu finally get the 3 gauge off. Carmine will now boost Twist from hand. We'll have to discard 1 for the end of a turn. But in theory, this is where Nu can do a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, Nu still has to contend with Thrust, which is a big problem in this matchup. At speed 6, it just means you can't throw... Like, you have to be really careful with what you throw on Exceed side. Lest you get caught out by Thrust. And when we look at Poiman's hand, Poiman has EX Thrust in his hand to contest at speed 7 if he really wants to. On top of that, Carmine, standing from middle, has a sweep that hits entire board in the form of Spin. So, yeah, I mean, just seems like a really tough matchup for Nu, honestly. Of course, Nu, when she overdrives, or Nu did not spend overdrive here. I hope they rectify that later. Otherwise, that's like really a bad mistake. But yeah, Poiman zooming out Spin here. Spin notably hits the entire board. Thrust is the faster option though, so if Nu's going for a speed 5, she has to watch out for this combat. Interesting, Poiman's going to play the Thrust now. We'll lose the Sword Summoner. Yeah, I don't know about playing the Thrust in that particular moment. Maybe save it for later. Like, EX Thrust is super good, but when you play EX Thrust, I guess that's not really an option you want to spend early. Especially because once your opponent knows you're out of EX Thrust, you're out of Thrust, excuse me, then your Carmine mix-up becomes significantly worse, in my opinion. But yeah, we're just like a little bit more patience there for Carmine. Carmine actually going to play the Thrust from there. I mean, I don't know what the difference is. I guess he's triggering that blood pool. Oh no, he's not triggering the blood pool. I'm not really 100% sure how this... He does trigger. He triggers both of them? Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter. He gets stunned out anyway. Sorry, I'm just used to Carmine having a bunch of armor and guard on everything. But yeah, super risky thrust there from Poiman. Would have liked a little bit more patience out of him, but Poiman asking, are you going to advance? The answer should be no. The answer almost most certainly is no. But yeah, it's just the fact that so unless Nu plays like a spike situation into a Carmine slow, then like Nu doesn't have enough damage for Carmine's trading potential, and Carmine only needs to trade a couple times, and he's trading for 8, right? In a lot of cases, so seems like a pretty Carmine favored match if I had to guess. Although not 100% sure. I'm not a Carmine expert. I'm certainly not a Nu expert. Now we see the second. Now we see another overdrive. This is the first overdrive drop. It should be the second though. No. Oh, we forgot to. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, it's rectified. Nu retreat 1. A little bit of an uncomfortable position here though for Nu, because unless Nu has a speed 7 to contest, Carmine can outspeed here at range 2. It's just with the rain blood introduced, like re-upping those dissolves, but also giving you free movement is insane, and movement is super good against Nu, especially when it's free. And I can harp on this for however long this video is going to be. What, 25 minutes, 23 minutes? But yeah, and Nu's going to check whatever we're throwing with cross. It's the with the grasp, excuse me, and checks it with the cross, or checks the cross rather, and that is awful. That is so bad. Nu will take 5 damage on account of the dissolve. And then guess what? Carmine can just reboost this dissolve and take a step back, and now has a speed 7. I guess speed 7 EX cross is not advised, but yep, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Carmine going to place it at range 1 actually, and then take a step back, notably step back to range 3 where Nu has problems. Both her super rages are down. Super rage is kind of her one quote-unquote good card in that it pushes and retreats, I believe. Or maybe it just pushes on hit. We see a strike here. This is going to be the assault into the block at least. At least Nu won't take damage, but this is a 6 power assault. When we're just gonna be putting that twist back at range 1 and take a step back to range 2. Same old story. Yeah, it's going to be 6 power assault coming in on curve. What's Nu going to do about that? No gauge for Calamity Sword. And both super rages down. EX super rage not an option. Now an assault down as well. I mean, EX assault would have been nice for Nu, I guess, but you can't even play EX assault. Or I guess you kind of have to take that risk. But the problem is EX assault loses a lot of combats there anyway, just because it loses to both the fast and the slow. So we're going to see another strike here from Carmine. And yeah, this is good relentless pressure. It's actually going to be the spike. Beating the block. Spicy stuff here from Poiman. I don't know why I'm commenting like I can't see Poiman make the play beforehand, but that's how we roll. It's going to be a 5 damage spike. That blood pool, that dissolve stays on the board. Back to Nu here in the corner. Range 2. Down across, I believe, if not both. Such a bad position. No gauge, no health, down both blocks. Luminous Slave. I don't know what this Luminous Slave is supposed to threaten. Threatens like dive out of the corner, I guess. When you pair it with a UA, it becomes you spend 1 force for +1 to +4 range. Poiman says I don't even need to deal with that. Get it out of here with the tech hit, and now we'll initiate with the slow. Fast slow mix up for Nu to deal with. Nu's attempting to play an EX into this. Is this? It's EX Sword Dance, which will pop the sweep. Oh my! Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is the hard call out on the slow here. One of the good ways of being Carmine is just out popping his defenses, and EX Sword Dance is a good way to do that, right? So EX Sword Dance would also pop the focus or pulverize. I'm actually shocked that the Calamity Sword was spent from Jad. I feel like Calamity Sword might even be a better win con than Exceeding as new here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not a new player by any stretch of the imagination. I hate that character, and I think that character's bad. But I feel like Calamity Sword would have been a decent way to close out the game here, especially with Carmine just having spent the tech hit as well. Just getting the six reliable power down would be super good. These guys looks like they're just organizing. They're just not organizing. They're getting their game state in order. I guess they're not on voice chat like a lot of these other people, which is good because that means we'll be able to see like the reading targets. Of course, the stun means the dissolve drops as well. Good call out there from Jad. Okay, I mean, once Nu spends that Calamity Sword, you know the Exceed's coming. Exceed can be a decent way to close out the game here, in theory, I think. The only problem is, like, you're stuck in the corner, and Carmine's pretty close to you. So as we see, I mean, we know that Carmine's been holding EX Cross this entire time to contest speed. We can even boost Cross to first superior if we want. We don't. We just prepare here as Poiman, who types some sort of swear into the chat. Don't know which one. Didn't catch it. So we're gonna see Nu retreat. Oh, that top-down camera button's a nice. I should probably learn how to do that. But yeah, I'm still not really loving Nu's position here. Again, we got a little bit of fast slow mix up here, but oh, actually no, I think there's one grass left in the deck. The thing is, Carmine just has pulverize. Actually, we're gonna go with the focus here. Focus can be dodged in theory. I still can pulverize. Second cross will do pretty good into the focus because we'll hop over and then retreat 3. Unfortunately, actually, really good call on spending the focus over the pulverize, just because pulverize is the card that Reckless Run is on, and Reckless Run is such an insane boost into Nu. And if Carmine Reckless runs to range 1 here, what's Nu gonna do? Down both crosses, telegraphed, no grasp. What is Nu gonna do? So actually good call spending the focus over the pulverize there. I did not actually catch that and whether it made any difference, but it looks like it actually does. So I'm going to assume the Reckless Run to range 1 comes out here from Poiman. I don't really see any other play in his hand. I'm shocked he didn't go to range 1. Spending the gauge, like, why spend? You have gauge that's doing nothing. Is he saving the gauge for be devoured, perhaps? The U blank, this is the end, is not going to do too well into Exceeded Nu. It will do well into regular Nu, I guess. As we see the overdrive effect go off here for Jad, or it should, rather. Yep, there it is. Retreat 1, back to the corner. Same situation now, except Nu's out of crosses as well. Only has that grasp to contest at range 6. Or at speed 6, excuse me. Yeah, I wonder why the thrust was spent over the gauge. It has to be because we want to be threatening ultras, but at the same time, do we need to be threatening ultras at this very strike? And we're gonna win this strike anyway, right? Especially if we're playing X Cross here. Was X Cross necessary? Yeah, to beat this. Wait, X Cross was definitely not necessary there. Because I believe Nu is out of Sword Summoners and is out of crosses as well. So Nu going to be Carmine putting that Blood Pool at range 4, threatening that second copy of Spin. which will hit 1 to 5 and will deal exactly 6 damage, so Carmine has to be wary of that. Excuse me, Nu has to be wary of that when striking. Has basically just a grasp left to contest it. Does Sickle Storm contest it as well, actually? Maybe Sickle Storm contested it as well. So we're going to see a change cards 3, discarding that Legacy Edge to draw 3 cards. Back to Carmine. Back to Carmine here. Threatening that spin, can move forward 1 and threaten a whole bunch of other stuff. Can move forward 2 and suddenly Nu is just kind of really sad, just because Nu's at range 3. Down both assaults and down both super rages as well at that point. I don't think there's a world where you can strike with the U-Blank. This is the end because I believe there's a dive left in the deck. And yeah, we're actually, Poiman's actually checking that right now. Yeah, I believe there's a dive left in the deck, so you can't strike with that. You gotta find a different win con. Big CC could even be a thing if you believe you don't need to win with an ultra. You just CC your gauge away. Guarantee that you draw that spin, force Nu to move in. Spending 2 forces to move to range 3 also seems acceptable, but I don't really remember the deck comp here for Carmine. Nope, just to me the prep, and now we do see that spin in the hand of Carmine. So this is the threat that Jad has to contend with. Can he contend with spin here? We see light boosted from Nu. That just gets tech hit into spin, so... I mean, I guess Nu can speed spin by going 1 force spike. Oh, Sickle Storm works. Oh, Sickle Storm doesn't work because we're at range 5, so it gains advantage. That's... Oh, no. That's a huge... That sucks. So Sickle Storm will do 4 damage to Carmine. Carmine, not stunned, will hit back for 6, picking up that dissolve at range 4. And we'll take game 1 over the Nu. Actually ended up being closer than I thought it would. I expected Carmine to kind of do super well into Nu, but actually Nu Death by 1,000 Cuts looks like it can work in theory. I don't know. I have my doubts. But yeah, game 1 going to Poiman. Don't worry, we got a full set of Exceed coming up. No more Carmine, though. Carmine is eliminated. Jad will be stuck on the Nu, which actually kind of sucks, because, I mean, maybe Jad's a Nu main. I don't know. I've never interacted with the guy before. But yeah, let's see what happens in game 2 coming your way next.